Welcome, everybody. I am excited. Today we have Kelly Bonanno here with us for a Spotlight Coach conversation. Kelly is an eco lifestyle and wellness coach, a mom to two teenage boys, God bless her soul, speaker and host of the Clean Beauty Scene podcast, which is amazing. If you have not checked it, you make sure you go and put a little heart beside her podcast. You can catch up and binge listen to all of her episodes. They're amazing. Kelly helps women over 40 break free from dieting, lose weight permanently, manage stress, and increase energy without counting calories or giving up wine, chocolate, and fun with her signature holistic, realistic approach, the Body Harmony Method. You had me at chocolate. So I've got all my ears are open. Well, I only got two of them, but my ears are open. I'm ready to go. Today, Kelly is here to share three surprising ways to improve your metabolism and kickstart your weight loss goals. I do know Kelly has a more in-depth presentation to share in these topics, but she is going to give us like a surface, some little tidbits on how we can get excited to come and work with her and to learn more from her. So welcome to the Beautiful You community, Kelly. I'm so excited to have you here today.
Thank you so much for having me, Stacey. This is fun. So it's a long time coming.
Yes.
We've been planning this a while, so it's great to be here.
Yes, it is. It has been quite some time. So
we're like halfway between the holidays that we had our summit that you were a guest on and the next holidays. That's what always freaks me out about the beginning, this time of year. It's like,
yes. Yes, the halfway point. Now you're already starting to plan your next summit, aren't you?
Yeah, I know. I thought I better get on it.
Yes. So share with us just a little bit about your program and some of these things that can help people kind of take back control when it comes to being in midlife and getting the tire around our waist and our metabolism starts to sludge through the mud.
Yeah. There's just so many things that start happening as we hit 40. And I think a lot of women out there can relate, just like, oh my gosh, I hit 40 and this happened and this happened. And the same things that were working when I was in my 30s and 20s are not working. And it's frustrating. And and the thing is, it's not any fault of their own. It's things change, hormones, and we get into that perimenopausal, perimenopause brings on a lot of challenges, just like we all hear about menopause, but perimenopause, and sometimes you don't even realize you're going through perimenopause or you're starting it. So that's why I try to kind of like help women get through that perimenopause. Then menopause can be a breeze too, if you've got things dialed in, which is great. That's why we say like start in your 40s, early 40s, paying attention to things, because a lot of perimenopause symptoms too also are things you just would think are maybe general aging or just this, not really pay much attention to. So, and the good news is, there's so many things. It doesn't have to be a sentence. It doesn't have to mean, oh my gosh, I'm going through perimenopause, menopause, and I'm going to gain weight that I can't get rid of. There are definitely different challenges, but it does not have to be, it's not a sentence like, okay, that's it. You're over 40 now, just downhill. Not, in fact, the very opposite can be true. Yeah. So, and I definitely, my philosophy is no dieting. There's no, diets set you up to fail. The diet industry sets you up to fail. And, you're on it or off a diet. That just doesn't make sense. It's a lifestyle. That way you can have the wine and the chocolate and the things. You can go out to girls' night out and have a plate of nachos and a margarita without it derailing you. And, and then we focus on the nutrient dense foods. And then you don't have to worry about like, oh my God, should or shouldn't I eat that? Oh my God, I ate that. It's like, that's okay. You ate it and you enjoyed it. And sometimes it takes some mindset work and, habit training to get to that point. I'm not saying it's just like, and yes, I always say kind of like without restriction, but, not complete without restriction, because we can't just sit on the couch, never move our bodies, drink a 6-pack of soda a day and eat pizza and onion rings. And, yes, we can enjoy our favorite foods, but when we're focusing on taking care of our body in those other ways and our nutrition in those other ways, then we have some wiggle room. Yeah. So that's why I really focus on nutrition, but not a diet, just getting your nutrition balanced so your body's in that fat burning, and then moving our body. And that does not mean 2 hours at the gym. In fact, too much exercise or the wrong kind of exercise, especially in women over 40 and in that perimenopause and menopause, can cause exercise-induced stress rather. Yeah. So it can backfire. And that's why a lot of women are like, I'm hitting the gym every day and I'm doing this, I'm not losing weight. There's a reason for that. So that's a big thing. And then stress reduction is a big part of my program too, because stress leads to inflammation that leads to pretty much every disease, and even pain in the body, and depression and anxiety and weight. So it plays such a huge role in weight gain and weight loss resistance. So that's really, really important too.
I am so grateful that you bring stress management into your program, because stress almost killed me back in 08. And talk about weight gain. My estrogen was in the bottom of the bucket. The doctors were telling me I was 32. They were telling me I was premenopause at that time. And I was like, this is unbelievable. I was in excruciating pain. I felt like I had aliens running through my body. I was over 200 pounds. I was like, I don't understand how I got to this place. My husband took me to a naturopath and we did all the blood scans. We found out all my blood was caked together. So it was having a really hard time pumping through my body, putting a lot of stress on my heart. I was 3 points away from needing a pacemaker. I was showing up anorexic, like malnutrition, even though I was over 200 pounds. And I was like, this is not a body of anorexia. It was brutal, but I learned how to heal myself with food. And I was like, oh, that's what kind of catapulted me into the coaching realm, was because I learned these simple concepts that are so effortless. Everybody can actually access food to heal our bodies. We just have to know the right foods to eat, right? So,
Yeah,
I'm glad.
exactly.
I'm glad that you are really taking a huge, really focusing a lot on the stress management, because that is a killer. It really truly
It
is.
is. And it impedes everything, the weight, your sleep, your relationships, it's just everything. And I've had my own issues too with stress. And for me, it'll come out in the body. Like years ago, it was about 2011, my jaw came out of joint with TMJ. Oh, definitely stress, and then just different other things. And I realized, and sometimes we don't realize how stressed we are. And with that, we've got that fight or flight, because we're in this world with so much going on. And so we can be in that fight or flight. So our nervous systems are on high alert when they don't really need to be. So it is really important. Well, I'm so glad that you healed. So your blood was not pumping. How did they even figure that? Was that a blood test they took?
He did a live blood scan. So he put my blood on a petri dish and threw it under the microscope, and your blood is supposed to be free floating. That's like healthy blood cells. And mine were all like stacked on top of each other. So they were all caked together, and all the white blood cells were evaporating just as fast as they were showing up on the petri dish. They were just like disappearing just as quickly.
Oh
I was like,
my
oh my God, this is so not good. Like, I felt like I was dying. I was in excruciating pain. I remember even crying out to the good Lord, like, please do not let me wake up. Thankfully, he doesn't listen to all of our prayers. But I was so much pain.
Your
Yeah.
whole body was in
Head to
pain.
toe, migraines, couldn't sleep. I was a hot mess. Like, God bless my husband for sticking it out with me through that season, because I was messy.
Oh my gosh. I'm so glad you're on the other side of it. That's so great.
Yes, me too. And I get these little like warning bells or these little whistles that go off. And I'm like, oh no, Stacy, you need to come back to the plumb line. Like, stop getting too carried away with the eating luxurious foods that you want to indulge in, but you need to come back to the basics, right? So
yeah, our body, I always say our body, whispers, sends a message, and then you don't want it to get to where it's screaming, because then you get into that burnout. And
it's a lot harder to find your way back.
It is. So I take a very holistic approach, and it's like it's everything. It is not just what we're eating, or so much.
The eating and the exercise. Let's just talk a little bit about the exercise component, because that's always been an area of weakness for me. Because you have to like hit the gym and you gotta do all these crazy cardio workouts, and it doesn't feel right to me. maybe just because of my own resistance, let's be real, because I've always not had like a love-hate relationship with fitness. I need that accountability in my life to be able to kick my butt to keep me moving. Otherwise, I buy into all of the excuses. But to hear that we don't have to be at the gym for 2.5 hours a day, and that it could potentially cause more harm than good. Let's just talk about
Backfire.
that a little bit.
Yeah, it's just you want to be moving your body. And because a lot of women also, I think most women can relate, a lot of women that come to me, they're pressed for time. We are all so busy. And so one of the biggest things is, well, I don't have time to exercise. So in my program, like we pepper things in. Let's just pepper in movement. Aim for that 10,000 or 8,000. But if you aim for that 10,000 steps a day, your body's moving. And, there are some days where, I do work out. I think weight resistance is very important, especially because bone density and muscle tone, having your body have muscle tone and all that, but it's not hitting the gym. It can be free weights. It's like you're using your body weight. And it doesn't have to be an hour, 5 times a week by any means, just a few times a week peppered in. And then you're toning the muscles and you're building that bone density, because as we age, we want to avoid osteoporosis. So, I do that a few times a week, but there are some days when I do that workout and maybe I even do some yoga, but I don't walk around as much. And I get less steps in than when I'm just busy and I haven't worked out enough, but I've got 12,000 steps and I didn't even do a workout. So, you know what I mean? And some days that's because I'm also putting in a power walk, but some days I don't do any power walk. I'm just busy and, moving my body. And there are things we can do to move our body, and multitasking is not necessarily good, but certain things are. Like, I always say, like, if you're talking on the phone with a friend, go get a power walk, go outside and talk with her. Even business contacts, like when I don't have to be on Zoom, I say, let's just talk on the phone. And then I walk around the neighborhood. And it's like, hey, get some business done and a few thousand steps, or more than a few thousand, so those, and then you're not taking the time for exercise necessarily. So that anytime you can sneak those things in is really great. And just the bone density, I think using some weight resistance a couple times a week is really important. And then there's other things too, but those are two things I think if people focus on.
I've always loved the free weights, muscle burns fat, right? So if we are doing the weight resistance training, then we are doing good for our bodies.
So true. And you burn fat, you burn calories, you get your heart rate up too. I mean, when I'm, I hold some weights, doing some squats, and it's like my heart rate is up as much as if I was doing a sprint, and also another great time-saving thing is high intensity interval training. So I do that with the weights, and then also outside, like you can sprint for 30 seconds and then walk for a couple minutes, or, walk briskly. That, just for 20 minutes burns more fat than if you're going to sit there and walk for an hour,
Right. So I'm going to have to try that. I'll walk my property, but I don't sprint.
Or jump, jump rope, or anything where you get any kind of getting your heart rate up for at least a minute. And then you bring your heart rate down for a couple of minutes. That's that interval training that burns more fat. So
I'm going to have to give that a go.
Yeah. And then, you can also do like an hour-long power walk is fine too, but doing a few they're called HIIT, high interval interval training, is so great a couple times a week, and you feel so good, and it just gets your energy up, and it burns fat.
Yes. And I love how you mentioned that you do yoga as well, because that not only helps move your body and get into the stretching and all of that, but it is so good for the mental health. I find it almost more beneficial for the mental health than I do for the body.
Exactly. It's so true. It's so true. And that's so important. And another big aspect of my program, and is like what we talked about, kind of the 3 secrets, is mindset. Mindset is so key when it comes to any area of your health, but certainly if you're trying to lose weight or maintain, because, sometimes you just don't want to fluctuate anymore. You just want to maintain. I found, at least that was like one of the problems with me. It wasn't like I was ever way overweight, but it was like, okay, I've gained weight. Why? I've lost weight. Why? It's like when I finally figured it out to even things out, it's like, okay, no, I don't have to diet anymore, because, so ending those drastic fluctuations is so great. And when we're eating in balance, and nourishing ourselves with good food, but also the mindset, because you're just eating healthy food. You're not on a diet and, or off a diet. You're in your mindset. It takes some training and it takes repetition, because our brain, we can rewire those neural pathways, but it takes repetition. And this is where a coach can help really build the habits and help, train those neural pathways. Because a lot of women, we get stuck in saying to ourselves, I have no willpower. Oh, it's going to go straight to my thighs. Oh, I have no time. I mean, think of all the negative things we say to ourselves. That's the story. And that's what your brain feels safe. Oh, I'm too tired. Then your brain's just trying to keep you safe. So you switch the mindset, and so, and then you become the kind of person who has the time, who has the energy, you know what I mean? So your brain just follows what what you tell it, because it wants to keep you safe, but it does take repetition. So mindset is huge, and mindset is a huge topic. I can't really dumb it down into a few minutes, but that's just kind of the crux of it. What we tell ourselves, our brain believes, and that's why there's no such thing as willpower. You train your brain, and then you're not working on willpower, because you're just, for instance, a lot of people don't drink enough water. They think they do, and then they track it and they know. It's like, oh gosh, I just don't drink enough water. No, you're not a person who drinks enough water. I'm a water drinker. And then, pretty soon you are a water drinker and you're drinking water, and you're not dehydrated anymore.
Yes. And being dehydrated really messes with your gut health. So
Yeah.
it's important.
Yeah. And thirst can signal as hunger, and it causes fatigue. Not enough water can really, people who get that energy slump, definitely nutrition plays a part, and stress, but water, if you're feeling fatigued, drink a glass of water, see how you feel.
Yeah, even headaches, all the things, right? There's water
Yeah.
so beneficial. I back in my 20s, I used to have this motto: if it didn't have sugar in it, I wouldn't drink it. And then I hit a wall. I had toxemia, so I hit the floor. I was in excruciating pain in my 20s. I've had lots of warning signs. Look at me go. And I went to the hospital, and they're like, "You're dehydrated." So they put me on IV right away and started hydrating my body. And they said, "How much water do you drink?" I'm like, water? Are you kidding me? Unless it's got sugar in it, I ain't drinking it. They're like, "Girl, if you don't start drinking water, you're going to be back here on a monthly basis to get hydrated." And I'm like, this isn't fun. So I had to start drinking water. And at the time, water was boring, because hey, I drank everything with sugar. I had to start putting fruit and lemons and different things in my water, and really
that makes it good.
give myself the opportunity to have flavored water without feeling like I was depriving myself from these sugary drinks.
That's actually smart to make it good with orange and lemon and lime, and that's good.
Yes, you can get so creative, basil, mint, all the things, right? So this has been awesome, Kelly. So just a little bit about your program. How do the members here, how long is your program, and how do they get in touch to reach out to you if they want to learn more?
Yeah, my website, kellybonanno.com, and then they can book a free call. I do a mini coaching call. It's it's not just a consultation. We kind of, so they can get an idea of, what it would be like to work with me. And then if it's a good fit, I can tell them my program. kellybonanno.com/free call. We can put it in the notes or whatever, but, and my name, that's the tricky part, is my name, Bonanno. It's so easy to misspell. So Kelly's easy, K-L-Y, but then BONANNO. The two people always put the two N's at the beginning, they're at the end. And then /free call. So that way we can kind of assess where people are. Yeah. So my program is, I have two different ways. I mean, you can work with me monthly, one-on-one. You could do a VIP day where we kind of set you up for a, successful launch, and then you kind of do it on your own. And then there's some follow-up too. So those are the two main ways. And periodically I do have groups. I'm thinking of doing another group soon. So if I have enough people interested, I like to keep them small, so we can, we do the live calls, and that way everybody gets individual time on the group call.
Oh, that's lovely.
All different ways.
And there's so much benefit from being in a group setting, because not only are you learning from the coach and having the coach support, but you're learning from one another, their experiences. Yes. And I find I'm an introvert, so I find sometimes I have a hard time sharing my struggle. But if I hear somebody else be bold enough to share theirs that I can relate to, I'm like, oh, if she can share, so can I. And then you dive into it, right? So you'll get yourself a little more freedom.
Yeah. That's very, very true. Yeah.
Well, thank you ever so very much, Kelly, for just coming and sharing some tidbits and little highlights of wisdom that your program does deliver. And
Sure.
anybody here that wants to learn more, you can get on that free call with Kelly. I'll
Yeah.
make sure to put her link here in the video so that you can type it into your browser and go take advantage of that free call and just see if Kelly is the right coach for you.
Yeah. And I call it the body harmony method because that's what I want to create: harmony, harmony with food, food freedom, harmony with your body. And like I said, it's very holistic. So it's not just about the food, although that is, and we get good, healthy recipes because sometimes we just need ideas, and then we can balance those recipes with the right balance of macros that you're burning fat, and you get some ideas. So sometimes it's like, well, what do I make that and tasting good? You don't have to eat unhealthy to have really delicious food. And the movement and the stress. And then I also put a big emphasis on reducing toxic load because there's toxins in our beauty and personal care in our household that actually mess with the metabolism. And of course, with just about every, it cause every disease out there, autoimmune, and mess with our hormones, which is not good as we get into this perimenopausal, menopausal. So reducing toxic load is really important and makes such a big difference.
Your program deep dives into what that toxic load is all about, because that is a whole topic in itself, right?
Yeah, it is. And people, when they realize like it doesn't have to be that hard, you just need some guidance. I call it the missing link because it helps on a health level so well, but it also, people don't realize that obesogens can cause weight on it's like that chemical induced weight gain and weight loss resistance. So like we get rid of that component. Well, there you go. You don't want like something in your lipstick having obesogens that are causing weight problems, altering your metabolism. It's pretty bad. So that's something I really like to help people with too.
Yes, just having that knowledge is gold in itself, right?
Yeah.
So good. I know that even when I was sick, just quickly back in 08, when I was learning all those things, I found out that I was sensitive to electronic magnetic frequencies. So just being in front of the computer all day long does not serve me well. So I've had to do certain things in order to help me combat the EMF so that it doesn't drain me. And otherwise, I'm no good to nobody.
Yeah, they're not good for anyone. So that's good that you
so many things. Well, thank you ever so very much, Kelly, for coming. And just I'm so grateful that we've had to have this conversation. I'm trying to do it for a while. So I appreciate you coming in and carving this time out for us today and just sharing. And I'm excited that this program has so many different levels that you can meet people at to really get that ultimate health harmony. I love it.
That's where I meet people where they are. Some people need more help with sleep. Some people need more help with nutrition. It's very, very customized. Well, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
So much love.